Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Welcome to the TowerCast podcast, the Towering Podcast for the Towering Filmmakers. How's it going? We are joined today by a lovely group of people, and we're going to just jump right in. Today's movie is You're in Trouble, and real quick, let's talk about the people in the room. We got Michael De La O.
Howdy.
Our
What's up,
director,
Michael?
the host alongside me, Eric Castro.
What's up, guys? Daniel Herrera here, trying to bring you guys an interesting episode today. We got one of my favorite people today, Ricky Bobby, a.k.a. Ricky Rodriguez. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good, man.
Doing good.
And then
How's
we also have
quarantine treating you?
How's what?
How's
the
quarantine?
lockdown.
As good as it could be, man. Clearly, it's treating me decent.
Everybody. And we also have Daniel, a.k.a. Blazing Dan. What's up, Daniel?
Hey, what's good?
What's good, man? How's quarantine treating you?
It's treating me all right so far. I've been chilling mostly.
You don't have a short temper?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Nah.
Well, you stopped at work, right,
I
Charlie?
suspect that I have to go to work every day still.
Dang, man.
So that sucks.
Well, at least you're essential. Like, I want that name tag.
But
No one's called me essential my
it's
entire
not
life.
all it's cracked up to be.
Are you one of those guys that wears the gloves and the face mask everywhere?
No, I do have to wear a face mask everywhere, and work luckily provided like a good one for me, so I wear that.
Oh.
And but yeah,
Daniel does work.
I'm
with
just
K-pop,
paranoid.
by the way.
Yeah,
everybody's
K-Fox, CBS, fake news, bitches.
The last one, we got Eric Sanchez looking like Darth Vader.
Yo,
What's up, man? How's it going, man? Everything good? Looks pretty bad.
terrible.
And of course, we have our leader, our chief in command, or commander-in-chief, someone who doesn't tell us to spray Lysol inside of our bodies. We have Carlos de la Torre with us today.
What's going on, guys? Thank you guys for tuning in.
What's up, man? I know you got more words than that.
We're all
Funny
big
because you
chilling.
talk a lot.
We're all big chilling. We are your towering hosts, keeping it real like a roll of film, always looking to develop with you, the listeners, filmmakers of El Paso and the world. Let's start ahead and just get this episode going. Today's director is none other than Ricky.
Ricky Rodriguez.
What's up, Ricky?
Rick the Sound.
First question off the bat, dude. Right off the bat, first question. How did you come up with this film, man? Was it you and Carlos? Was it you and a bad experience? What's going on?
Not at all, man. And that's good because I know my story wasn't written by me. I was actually given the opportunity to direct a really good story. Carlos and Eric actually wrote the film, and they didn't want to direct it. They wanted to pass it to someone else. And, you know, I was blessed that they had told me that they wanted me to direct it. I was given the story, given chances, you know, if I wanted to change anything, if I wanted to do anything. Since it was my directorial debut, it was a real exciting, nervous time for me. But
We gotta break Ricky down because this guy, I don't mean to interrupt you, my bad, but like this guy has been like, to me, like as a newcomer, like Ricky was very welcoming and he was very like, yeah, what's up, man? Like, yeah, you got this. Yeah. Always a good like energy on set.
That's
and
who he
he
is.
really made me feel, everybody made me feel welcome, but Ricky especially was very like, so what's up, man? Like very asking you questions, pulling from you. And yeah, he's been the sound operator for a lot of these films.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's a very interesting episode that we get to interview somebody who's worked a very specific job for many of these films and then be able to do a director debut that was as good as this. Because You're in Trouble is a funny ass movie and it was really well directed, Ricky. I want to congratulate you. I think we all want to.
I really appreciate that. I mean, just tons of help. Things were kind of set up right for me, and I was lucky to have that. The story was crisp. It was good. It was funny. You know, comedy is what I enjoy, and I've been lucky being here in Tower, not only getting the opportunity to do sound, but Carlos has been one of the guys who's pushed me to kind of push myself a lot more than I've done on my own. That's exactly what I needed. He wanted to get me, you know, behind the camera because he knew that's something I wanted to do. And so when this project came along, it was nice enough to go ahead and just tell me, hey man, this is for you. You should do it if you want it. I liked it, and we went after it.
We didn't think of anybody else, man. We didn't think of anybody else. Rick was always the first name in my head, and then I relayed that with Eric and Austin and everybody, all the execs. They agreed, man, that Rick was the guy to bring this to life for sure. There was no one else in mind. It was always going to be Rick, man. This was always his.
And Rick, man, I have to ask, man, from an actor's point of view, how was it directing actors?
Again, the kind of the name of the game is going to be luck, and it's going to be backwards and forwards, man. When you're talking about story wise, directing, actors, casting. Oh, casting was a little difficult, but everything, man. I was lucky enough to have a good story. The crew that's easy. I mean, just being around Tower is just always amazing. We're
exactly right.
It's just so easy to be around you guys, but the actors themselves, man, actors, a director's job is only as easy as the people that he's surrounded with. And I was lucky enough that the actors, even though it wasn't something I necessarily knew what I was doing, nobody treated me like that. And everybody was cool. Some of the actors I already knew, some of them, they weren't really familiar with me, but everybody was just on cue, professional as hell, and knew what they were doing. So I had an easy time. So this project was a good intro for me. It was just easy.
When we're talking about Rick, and we're talking about kind of the type of person Rick is, I want to piggyback off what Juan said a little bit, because Rick has been with us since day one, man. The day one of our feature film of Depth.
Yes, I remember him.
And Rick, I want to tell this anecdote really quick, because this is the type of person Rick is, and Eric Sanchez has a nickname for Rick that I think is exactly encapsulates who Rick is. Do you want to say what your nickname for Rick is, Eric?
My golden star.
Golden
star.
Right. Dude, Ricky's awesome, dude.
That's just how Rick is, man. And Rick and I met in a class that Castro, actually, you and I were in that class too. It was a women in film class by the great Professor Acosta. Fantastic teacher. Fantastic. And she was by far my favorite professor at UTEP, man. She worked, she graduated from UCLA, and she worked with like James Franco and a bunch of people, man. She was on sets and shit, and she was awesome.
She knows her stuff.
She knows her stuff. I mean, to this day, she's one of our consultants, like with Tower, man. Anytime we have any, like, we want to send it out for feedback, we send it to her. Send her scripts, we send her cuts of films and shit like that, because she's just amazing, man. And anyways, we had this class, and I went up to Acosta at the end of a class once and was like, hey, you know what? I have this production company, and we're working on this film. I was wondering if I could show it to you and get some feedback. And while I was saying that, Ricky was sitting in the front row of the class. And at the end of it, he kind of came up to me and was like, hey, man, I overheard you saying you have a production company. I'll never forget what Ricky told me. He said, I just wanted to tell you, man, like, I'd really like to get involved. You don't have to feed me. You don't have to pay me. Like, just, I'd really like to do anything that could get me involved in your company and making films. And I said, absolutely, man. Let me get your number, and we'll contact you when we got the next thing coming up. And he gave me his number, this little piece of paper. I swear it was like a little ball rolled up. Like a little tiny little piece of paper. And I gave it to Austin. I was like, hey, man, we need to call this guy. This guy's like committed, and he really wants to help us out.
Did he put a little smiley face on it too?
Little hearts.
Little hearts. He said, do you like me? Check yes or no. And shit like that, dude. It was like,
I thought it was like a little wink that said, like, call me for a good time,
That's what it was.
Oh, he did. And I remember Austin put that little piece of paper in a filing cabinet we have where we save all of our.
Oh, nice.
Are they all that big? Just like,
oh yeah,
very tiny filing cabinet.
No, it's a small filing cabinet. But yeah, Austin saved it in there. We have like Tower contracts and a bunch of stuff in there, and we pulled it out when we were getting ready for Depth of Field and getting the crew together. And mind you, Tower at that point had only done, I think, Sun City Lights, maybe one or two other shorts. But this was in our inception. It was definitely right before we started our first feature. And Rick came on, and he came on as a grip. I remember he came on as a grip, super helpful, and he wasn't able to make it for all the shoots. And I remember that, like, that bugs him to this day, that, like, he wasn't able to make it because we're shooting, I think, weekdays, right, Rick? and I remember just our sound guy quit. Our sound guy quit midway through the film, and we had this other girl named Carla. She took over the sound. And then eventually, I think towards the end of the film or something, Rick came in and helped out on sound or helped boom. But any day Rick was on set, man, the set was running smooth, and that's a testament to Rick for any single film we've ever done. That Rick's on set, it's smooth, man. It's a smooth set because Rick not only has done the sound for Tower, but he helps in every capacity where it's needed, man. And
Well, I have a story about him, dude. The day I fell in love with him, dude. I remember doing we had just he had just mic'd me up, and we're doing It's Funny, and I was going over my lines, and I had forgot that he had mic'd me up, so I was going over my lines trying to be funny, and then all I do is I hear somebody from the corner like, "Yo, that second one was perfect." that just took my confidence level from here to like all the way up, dude. It was dope. It was like, okay, so that one was pretty good. And that day, I just fell in love with you, man. You're just an awesome person, dude, and I'm glad you got your chance to do a directorial debut, dude.
I really appreciate it. I've got plenty of stories for Castro, man. That all involves his method, and I have no interest in being in front of the camera. Even something like this is completely nerve wracking. But I've been completely intrigued by actors, and particularly Castro, because just his method. Like I could go on forever on that one, but
no. But this is about you, man. This is about you.
I'll get to that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the plot of the movie. Real quick. Let me just bring in my friend real quick. Is that a joint, man? Fucking cheeseburger. Let me just pass this over to my good friend Castro over here.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. After you're done with that, can you pass that over to De La O over there? Sorry, bro. I got a little smaller.
Fuck, man.
Oh, man.
It's getting smaller.
I know.
I finished it, man.
Very good.
Kill a big drag. That's still damn, son.
His lungs.
It's not the corona.
No, but can someone tell me the plot of the movie? Like, what exactly is the plot of what's the story here?
Well, the writers, you guys are the ones that wrote it.
Yeah,
man.
We can talk about it. So the plot of the film is
a life experience or what?
It's a life experience, a life lesson, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have a guy who's up for a really important gig. He's up for probably one of the biggest jobs he's ever had. And the only thing kind of holding him back or hindering him is the fact that he has to take a drug test. And our friend, our main character here, played brilliantly by Beto, man, and he'll be on later on the podcast. He partakes in cannabis and
Why'd you say it like that?
So normal. I know.
Yeah, man.
He smokes Halloween.
Of cannabis.
Like a 90s mom, dude.
It smells Halloween.
You can just say that
He's smoking Halloween, man.
You look like in a 1970 commercial right there, dude.
Cannabis.
It's
bad for you.
It's a PSA. It's a PSA. No. But the film partakes in that.
Hey, Eric. Stop
Hey,
moving.
hold on.
What's up?
Yeah, super.
You're moving too much, dude.
Pause. Yeah. It was really bad.
You're good. My bad, Carlos. Go for it.
No, you're good. So yeah, the film just kind of revolves around this character trying to figure out what he's gonna do because he knows he smokes weed every day. He knows that's what it is, and if he takes a drug test, he knows he's gonna fail it straight up. But that's really what it revolves around, him and his friends trying to come up with a solution. His close buddy, played by Alexis. I don't think Alexis is going to be on the show today. He couldn't make it, but
He's busy doing Edison's Ear.
he is. He's the lead singer of a great band called Edison's Ear, which we've had on.
Fantastic band. Fantastic.
They also created music for this one, right?
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Great, man.
Well,
Yeah.
it's existing music. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Oh, yeah.
they had music and they let us use it for a few of our films, not just this one, a few of our films.
Yeah.
But anyways,
3/4 of the band is in the film.
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
friend recommends. Yeah, his friend recommends that he uses fake urine, and is confident because he's done that all the time. And this whole story came about because it happened to one of our own in a real life scenario. and I won't get much into detail. I'll let Eric get into detail if he wants to about that. But it happened to Eric, and Eric told me in Austin, and I think Michael was there that day, this story, and I couldn't stop cracking up. I couldn't stop cracking up of the whole story. So I thought, this has to be a film, man. Like, this has to be written. And I wrote a first draft, and I showed it to Eric, and he kind of changed some stuff and made some.
I regret not coming out in this one. God damn it!
Oh, we asked for that.
I do, man. Yeah, man. This is one of my regrets of not being involved in this one for sure, dude. I got to be honest.
No,
it was pretty good.
What part would you have wanted to do, John? I mean,
the main role, dude.
Oh, really? Beto killed it, though. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Beto, Alexi, everybody.
But actors like, I wish I could.
You would have been an extra. I'm kidding.
No. Yeah.
Would you ask?
This is like the one movie we wish would get like a low key sequel, because you could do something.
Yes, man. I could be the
really
boss that hires him, and I'm a bigger stoner than he is, probably.
Wow.
You know?
Hey,
I could be the boss. You know?
I think
Hey,
that's what's so special about this.
Just food for thought. Just food for thought, Ricky. I could be the boss, that hires him.
You don't cast DiCaprio in a supporting role, man. Come on. Now. Come on now.
No, come on. Now, a little piece of trivia there. We did want Castro for the lead. I think it's one of the first things I suggested to Rick, and Castro. No, you know what? And in all fairness, Castro, it's okay to talk about that. It's okay to talk about the fact that we're going to do a little something more serious, a little something less comedic. And we had other films that we were wanting you for. I remember that.
Pórtate bien.
Oh, yeah.
No, but yeah.
No, but yeah. So I just want to kind of talk about that a little bit. Just kind of the heart of the stoner comedy, and where that comes, because I'm a stoner comedy fan, man. Like,
Yeah.
like big time. Castro and I talk all the time about like how
Yeah.
Friday. And that's why I knew it was Ricky that needed to come here, because Ricky's sensibilities in comedy are better than anybody I know. Is definitely anybody in the Tower crew.
You say that.
His sensibilities in comedy, man. Like, we can sit, and we've sat for hours talking about comedians and comedy films, and only like things only Ricky knows that I can never talk to anybody else about this other than like my brother, because we'll talk about Louis C.K. or we'll talk about Patton Oswalt or Martin Short, or like all these awesome comedians that nobody fucking knows.
Patton Oswalt is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a something I could attest to that, because on set, I've heard these two guys like just verbatim quote like a whole comedy bit. And, Carlos, before we started the show, was just talking about comedians. And you can, this is something that he's not making up, because you can see it in his films as well. That's why, what's funny. I'm sure that probably propelled him to do a story like that about comedians, because he loves stand-up and he really appreciates the art and the craft that those comedians go through. And, he was talking to us about a little bit ago about the Latin Kings of Comedy, which, El Paso does have comedians come by all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Carlos has more to say about it than
At the comic strip.
The Bart Reed's comic strip, man. It's been a staple in El Paso since I want to say since the late 70s, early 80s. And
I've been trying to get a job there for like 2 years. Like,
whenever
you and I both, man.
Right? Whenever you hear comedians talk about, I'm going to work on material. If you don't know the process of a stand-up comic, they go to comedy clubs to work on jokes that are either going to work or they're not. And the ones that work make it to the comedy special, their big finale comedy special, right? So Bart Reed's comic strip is one of those places where comedians drop by, they swing through El Paso, and
they try some stuff.
Yeah, they do 2-3 nights at the comic strip, and we've had big names, man. Like, I got to meet Steve-O there when he was kind of starting his comedy career. I met Paul Rodriguez. I mean, guys like Pablo Francisco's come by. The other day,
I met Pablo Francisco.
You told me.
Yeah, fantastic dude, man. He could have blown us off, and he was dope, man.
I got to meet a nice guy.
Yeah, Pauly Shore.
Is it the Weasel?
Yeah, is it still Bart Reed's though?
I'm not sure. You're right. I don't know if it's still,
it might have been sold off. I know it's the comic strip. It's just out.
The comic.
But either way, man.
Regardless, like the comic strip. If you're a fan of Gabriel Iglesias talks about how he'd come to Bart Reed's comic strip in the 90s and start kind of shaping his comedy routine.
Yeah,
He shot his special here.
He shot his special here. One of his specials.
Which one?
Yeah, I can't remember which one, man, but I remember I was part of that
His
film.
second comedy special.
The one that's titled "Live from El Paso." I think that one might be it.
Oh,
I
gotta
think
check
it's
that
Just
out.
called,
maybe.
believe it or not, I think it's called "I'm Not Fat, I'm Fluffy." Like,
Oh, that's right.
Oh, it's one of okay.
but it does say "Live from El Paso" and the.
How's it going, El Paso?
Yeah.
We get a lot of love from comedians, man. They talk about how much
Yeah.
they love it here.
Oh yeah.
They're always coming back, especially the Latin ones, but other ones as well.
I
They
met-
really do love it here.
I
Yeah.
met Gabriel Iglesias twice, and Gabriel Iglesias. And that if you go to his shows here in El Paso and on there, he said it on Snoop Dogg asked him on GGN. He asked him, "What's your favorite city to tour to? What's your favorite city to go to with your comedy?" And he said El Paso.
No.
And El
that's
Paso. You can find that
fantastic.
on YouTube, man. That's just
That's-
the place. But anyways,
too
not
cool.
again. Juan's right. We could go on for hours about this.
That's it.
But
Well,
that's
I guess
why
we could take it back a little bit. I do want to go back to Ricky and ask him, like, what was the set like? Because we talked about a little bit of your transition and stuff. And I know De La O has a story because we all remember this, but I know De La O is the one who brought it up. Was there any hiccups that like put you on the freeze? And if you don't remember one, we'll definitely do a Wayback Machine thing right here. We'll have De La O talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, I heard that there is one. What's up?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The biggest one that I always talk about is in this entire process, because obviously making a film, if is a process.
Right.
It was relatively easy for me. I had help like crazy. Isaac, man, the best AD. I'm gonna give a shot to Isaac, man, the best. He's gonna be my forever AD, man. He did everything that from the moment that I signed up for this, man. He looked at me and told me, "I'm gonna be the bad guy. I'm gonna be the one to do. You need anything done on set. You need someone kicked off set. You need someone shush. You need something that you don't like that you want to correct it. You tell me. I am the bad guy. I will take care of it."
A true AD.
Yeah,
Just took the
perfect AD.
Yeah, just took. He's forever mine. I call dibs on him. Him, Carlos, and us. Everybody made everything so easy so comfortable for me. The only, I guess, hiccup that I ran into that I would be worth talking is really in the casting. The casting is the one that kind of it wasn't really a problem. It was just it slowed it down
Because Leo passed on us, right?
Yes,
Leo
for some Oscar winning. No, man, like for real, like we everything that I trying to find who to play what and if you read the script, a lot of the script, we were talking to Carlos about this, a lot of the script screams actors we already know. I was reading it, I heard voices. I heard Lexi was easy to cast. That was automatically in. But the way I wanted to do it was Carlos had handed me the script, was ample time and told me, change whatever you want. Change if you want to change dialogue, you want to change jokes, you want to change things, go for it. So I remember taking it with me to work and I was going over it. And when the whole casting thing came up where, there were certain people I wanted for certain parts and certain people I wanted to shift around. Like we said, originally we were going to get Castro in the part, which would have kind of bumped a lot of them. One of the parts that I was going to shift around was Fredo's part. Fredo was actually, Fredo would have played Caesar's part probably in the beginning. But what I would have done, because if you know Fredo is, and I'm going to say this here on TV, Fredo is capable of a lot. He's an actor he's got talent. And so I didn't want to restrict him to a one-line deal. The part that Caesar plays, who plays fantastically, by the way. He's saying one line, he plays it fantastically. If I would have put Fredo in that part, I would have personally written out some more dialogue for that. I remember I wanted to extend that character just because if Fredo was going to play that, I knew it would have made just for a better film. But I
love that you're talking about casting, Rick, because comedy, I like to think comedy is all about timing. I think you and I agree on this. Like, that's all we talk about is comedy is all about timing and delivery. And if you don't cast the right people, it's going to throw everything off. And I remember Rick being super prepared, man, for pre-production, production. Like, he was just super prepared. He always came with his notebook. He always came ready with thoughts on what he wanted. I expected, look, man, we've done this before. I've written stuff. I think this was one of the first times where I wrote something that I didn't want to direct, but we've had instances in the past where we asked somebody to direct something, and usually if they're first time directors, they're very shy and they kind of come like, "Hey, can I do this or can I do that?" Rick was not that. I expected Rick to be that, and I love that he proved me wrong. Because Rick is a sweetheart. I mean this in a really good way. He's a sweetheart, and I expected that from Rick. I expected like Rick to be humble, and that's just how he is. That's just how he is. But he came to set like, "Yo, man, you gave me a job, and I took it, and I came prepared, and this is what I want to do with the film."
I mean, like,
the vision.
One of the first times of me meeting all of you guys, I only knew Rick as a director. So like before meeting the like humble nice guy, I met the Ricky director who like commanded things like, "Yeah, yes, I love that, man." Like, yeah, keep doing that, And I'm in. Like, it was a pretty neat experience because I mean, seeing you, man, like, you just jumped right into the role, you jumped right into that whole like setting.
Tried to do,
It was Lao's first time working with us, actually.
Yeah. While we're on it,
because I was doing camera work, like the first scene, the party scene, and like Lao was the gaffer, and I'm like, I just told Lao, "You do your thing." He asked me like, "Where do you want the lights?" I'm like, "You got it." Like,
well, look, Daniel DP this, right? If I'm not mistaken, Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel, some fantastic DP work, man. I mean, this was fantastic DP work.
Thank you.
That's
Blazing Dan, hell yeah.
As Blazing Dan's specialty, man. If he's not masterfully editing, he's masterfully doing camera work or being a DP, and that's the deal with him. I remember Eric had just gotten hired at that job that we're talking about. Luckily, he's not there anymore, so I think we can talk about it. But but because of that, that's kind of why like we all agreed like Daniel's got to be the guy to do this. He knows this world. He knows these types of people. He knows how to shoot this shit. No, I mean that like wholeheartedly. Yeah. Like, he knows how to shoot his
way around the joint.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of stoner comedies too, from the guys from the films you mentioned earlier to even more recent films like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Margo to White Castle. Those are like my favorites.
Oh yeah. You're absolutely right. And I think when it came to that, I want to tell the story about the Lao because it was hilarious, man. I met the Lao at UTEP. I was invited. I was like blessed, man. I was invited after we won the 48-hour challenge. One of my old professors, Via. If you go to UTEP, you know who Via is.
Shout out Via.
He invited me back. He's like, "Hey man, I'm doing the intermediate media production class, and I need a guest director for this scene. Can you come and do it?" So I was like, "Of course." I said yes. And I met the Lao on that set, and I'm gonna call Daniel out on this because I'm calling Daniel out.
Come out.
Call me out.
So we were on set, and obviously the production was fantastic, and it was a great day on set. And the Lao, I was literally walking back to my car, like they had dismissed me from set, and I talked to the Lao. Comes up to me, he's like, "Hey man," kind of similar to Ricky, like, "Hey man, I'm Michael Lao, and I'm a friend of Daniel's. Daniel and I had a class together, and we made this and that." And he's like, and he told me about Tower, and I really want to get involved. And I remembered because Daniel mentioned it once, and we told.
I mentioned it at least a couple times. I know that.
Maybe
once, twice.
Okay, so
his memory's a little off.
Yeah, we told Daniel. When Daniel mentioned like, "Hey man, there's this guy that he's really talented. We should bring him onto Tower. He's really interested." We told Daniel, "Set up the meeting, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get it." And it just never happened. It just time passed and it never happened. And
months of isolation later.
It must have been months, right? Like it must have been months in between. And then I was probably waiting around like, "Ooh, I'm wondering when this is gonna happen." But
it was gonna happen eventually. I would have gotten around to it.
It was crazy because at my doorway, like I was just standing there, and my parents were like, "We need to exit." I'm like, "No, I might get called out at any moment. I need to be ready to run."
And then worst of all, he didn't have a social media. He
didn't. He didn't have a way of contacting.
The day that we met him, the guy pulls out his phone. It's like, "Oh my god!"
We finally met with Delao. We finally met with him. I set up a meeting and we met with him, and he was a super nice guy, man. And that was the first. You're right, Eric. Like that was the first thing that made an impression on you. Like we asked him, "Do you have like Facebook, man, or something?" Because that's how we communicate with towers. We send messages through Messenger. And he's like,
TikTok is big old phone. Flips it.
And anyways, talking about you're in trouble. We get to set, and Delao shows up ready, man. Like I call him like mini Michael, like Michael Head. If you know Michael Head, he always comes with his gaffer belt. He has his lights ready, gloves. Like he's the show, man. Like
he knows what's up. He knows what's up.
And Delao was exactly that, dude. Like he had his gaffer belt. He had like a miniature size of all the equipment that Michael has. It's hilarious. Yeah, he has awesome. Like a little lighting kit. He has his stingers. He has everything, man. By the way, anytime you see in this room where we shoot the podcast on a regular basis, all of the equipment that's set up, lights, everything, man, it's Delao's. With the exception of the sound equipment and the mics, like all the lighting equipment, the stingers, everything that's set up to look like this production is top notch. That's Delao.
He knows what he wants.
So he gets to set and he's all ready, and he kind of asks like, "Hey man, what should I do?" And we didn't have a gaffer. I think Michael had to drop out or he was going out of town or something. So I was like, "Do you know how to gaff, man? Do you know how to light?" And he's like, "Yeah." No. Delao was actually confident. He didn't hesitate. He's like, yeah, man, I could do that. Little did I know that this was his first time gaffing.
Oh, good. That's how you jump. Yeah.
That's exactly how you do it.
Did a fantastic job. The scene was lit fantastically. And later,
I mean, it could have gone wrong, but it went right.
Weeks later, or like months later, he tells us like, "Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, dude. I was just like."
Yeah, because I came on and you guys were like, "Hey, we need you to gaff. There's the lights," and I was like, well, this is what it's like. This is what it's like. You just walk on sets, and people tell you to do random crap,
like
and you just do it.
Like people just tell you to do stuff, and then
Daniel should know.
You're expected to do it.
Yeah. So I jumped on. I like within the first 5 minutes, I learned how to like turn on the lights, and then I was like, okay, we're just gonna go to town, and then a weekend of events, and then we put together a film. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, no,
did you Google gaffer on your
what was your impression?
Light bulb. That's how you use it.
Oh wow! I have one of those.
Yeah. What was your impression, Delao? Like, I'd like to ask that before we move on to anything else. What was your impression of not just working with the Tower crew, but working with Ricky as a director and working with the cast? And
like I said, I felt that Ricky, you like exuberated just this essence of, oh, I'm a director. So like when I saw you, I didn't see you as like, oh, this guy was previously doing sound, or oh, this guy's just like one of the guys. Like, no, this guy's coming on director and all that kind of stuff. So like when I was asking you, man, like during set, I was like, hey, do you need me to do anything else? Like, is this okay? Do you want me to shift that? It was like because I was looking at you like,
your chest.
Yeah, you're up there. And with the rest of you guys, you're just like super like welcoming. I mean, brought me on. You were, like asking if I was okay and all that. So it was just a great time on set. Like, I was super happy to be there, man.
I'd like to ask you, Rick, as a director, man, like this being your directorial debut, I'm always curious because I think I told Austin at some point, like I want to try directing something I haven't written. I want to try writing something I'm not going to direct. And I kind of try to give myself these little challenges with the shorts. I had done The Tram, which was written mostly by Josh Lozano. And so I directed something that wasn't mine. And then I wrote something and I knew right off the bat I wasn't going to direct this. I knew I'm a firm believer, I'm a really firm believer that if you're not the right person for it, you're not going to do it justice. And that's why I didn't want to direct this. It's just though I love stoner comedies and I love that genre. It's, if you've seen my work, I've never really done something like that. So
what was it, that or you just wanted to give Ricky, because Ricky he seemed like he was brewing for something good?
It was both, man. Like I knew right off the bat that it wasn't something I was going to direct. That's the first thing. But that was the first thought. The second thought that came right after was Rick's perfect for this.
Yeah.
So it was a process that way too. It wasn't for me. It was something I wasn't going to direct. So, in fact, I expected the script to change tons because I thought I'm just going to put it out there, and then Ricky wants to change it, whatever he will. But I do want to ask you that, Rick, like in terms of directing something that you didn't write, was it an experience that you felt was good for your first film, or did you feel like, oh man, I kind of wanted to write something or something like that?
Good question. Good question.
I always want to write, and that's one of the things that when I got the script is as I really dove into it, and there's things that I with this whole project, like I said, things worked out the best for me. Not just were things, I don't want to say handed to me, but the things were really made so much much easier for me, even when they were a little bit more difficult. But everything was for the best. I did plan on jumping in and trying to give it my own taste. Eric can attest that in the beginning I was getting with Eric a lot, Eric and Austin in the beginning, because I was trying to make it my own.
Yeah.
I think it was either Scorsese or I think it was Ron Howard that said, no matter what the project is that you have to make it your own.
Yep.
If it's not something that you're written, if you're adapting a book, if you're writing anything, the first thing you have to do is you got to make it your own. Yep. That way it comes off that way. And that's one of the biggest things I wanted to do was try to make my own. And I kind of was I was like a cat trying to burrow my way into making my own little spot. And writing was going to be one of those things. Had it not been for the casting kind of casting wasn't hard. I don't want to make it seem like it was ridiculous, but it is something that it was time and time that we're trying to finalize this so we can get the project going on schedule. And because of that, I have a script that I think I lost on set. I gave it to somebody, but it's all written in red, and things are corrected and crossed out, and notes written where I was going to change things around. Good. But because of the timing and we want to stay on schedule, I opted not to write, which ended up working out. I listened to one of the podcast that we have, the TowerCast, on when you had Edison's year on. Mm-hmm. You talked about Caesar, how you loved his lines. I was going to change those lines. His one word, I was going to keep them as one word phrases, but I was going to mix them around, which ended up working out. It was brilliantly written, and it worked out great for the script. It might have made it worse had I changed it so it works out.
No, I'm glad you did, Rick. I'm glad you did. And something we repetitively talk about on this podcast is the fact that the Tower 20 was our film school. I truly do believe that, because if I'm not mistaken, Rick, this was the last film we shot for Tower 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we had already shot Assumed, we had already shot You Know What's Funny, but we decided to release those at a later time because the post-production on Assumed was crazy, and we'll talk about that next episode. And You Know What's Funny was always going to close off this kind of chapter for Tower, because it was a huge accomplishment for us too.
I think it also shows a testament to, like, you guys, this is like the first like true comedy of the Tower, filmography, and I think that it's cool that you guys push this campaign. That, I mean, if there was like a really awesome commercial for it, it would showcase horror, it would showcase action, it would showcase drama, it would showcase a romantic comedy, and to have a stoner film within there, like, it really does show you guys have a versatile group of directors that can deliver on the script that they're handed. And I think that, I think it's like a very poetic thing that you guys started the way you guys did, like with the Tower origins and everything and all. But the fact that you have somebody who started off as a boom operator, and a damn well good one, and then to jump onto the director's seat, like, it really shows you, man, that Tower is a team that it gives you the tools to grow. Whether you or not, but it will give you that route to jump into different seats that you didn't even think you were gonna fit into.
I agree, Juan. Yep. I think that's the point. I want to make it very clear for anybody listening that when it comes to Tower, anybody that's recruited, the first question I like to ask is what they like what they like to do, what their strengths are, what they want to do in this industry, be it lighting, sound, directing, writing, what have you. And if we can put them in those capacities, it's a win-win, because we have somebody doing the job they love, which means they're going to do it well, and we have this that we have them be happy. They're happy, so it's a win-win situation. And I want to make it clear that for anybody, like when we recruit somebody new and they're kind of getting their feet wet, everybody starts out as a grip. We all grip. Everybody in the tower crew has grip.
Don't forget, you start off in a cage. You start off in a cage, and then from there you kind of upgrade.
Right. And it's not even a big cage; it's a really little cage.
That's all I know.
It's a cat cage, man.
It's like the gulag. It's like the gulag in Call of Duty. Like if you win, if you kill the other person.
I mean, I was there with like 3 other people, and they said I've been waiting for months, and I said, hey, well. Better late than never, huh?
So I just want to make that very clear. We all start on an even keel. We all start on coming up from the ground up. We all did it, and no job is beneath us. I think that's something very cool about Towers. Like we all put on different hats, and we all help out. Whoever the director is, they have our back.
Yeah.
And that's the point. And I want to make that clear about like Juan and De La O, man, because like they're quote unquote our newest members. We have other members that we're still kind of getting in that because of this quarantine, we haven't been able to bring in fully. But De La O and Juan,
I wouldn't say new. They're established. They've
No, you're absolutely right. But there are
making my way downtown.
There are newest members, and
we're still the
they may have started as like Juan's obviously done the behind the scenes for most of our films since he's been on, and
which is pretty cool. Yeah,
it's amazing. And Juan is a director well within his own right before Tower and stuff like that, and. When he came on, he helped out in that capacity, and now he's writing scripts, and we're getting ready for his directorial stuff. And we have De La O as well. De La O pitched me this amazing story the other day.
Oh, he's climbing, dog.
I'm not going to talk about it because it's not ready. But
what? Remember De La O? You got to send it to Ricky and I.
It's true.
Hey,
that's true.
Yeah.
I don't get cocky.
We're waiting.
Hey, Ricky.
Yo,
I have a question for you, man.
Yeah.
For this movie. Did you have any inspiration of one of your favorite films, stoner films? Can you tell us your favorite stoner film? Or how did you get inspiration for this one, like for a visual wise?
I think that it just shows all the films you guys have already listed are really. I'm not necessarily huge. I wouldn't say huge on like stoner films, but all the films you guys name, Half Baked, How High, Friday, all these like. Oh, those are fantastic films, man. And
I think, Rick, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I think you and I talked about a lot of the Apatow stoner comedies, and that we're huge fans of those. And we talked about this has a very Apatow.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yes.
And I think Rick tackled that for sure.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say
that was one thing we started from the beginning. It was more. It had that Apatow, that Judd Apatow feel, and we kind of ran with it. I'm not, none of us are kind of where we're just going to piggyback off of that, but it had that feel, and we wanted to keep that feel in it, and that was important to keep to have in the story. Whether dialogues and all these little gimmicks that we came up with on set, like the basis of it was kind of that same feel.
Yeah, like that best friend giving the worst advice to the friend.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
And you, Daniel. My bad. Go for it.
No, yeah. Tally, man. Tally, you got to talk about your experience as a DP. And
yeah, man, like you working at a news station, has that helped, dude? Visual wise?
Oh my God. Honestly, immensely. Like since
really
the first film, when I got to work with everybody on depth of field, like I kind of knew what I was doing on depth of field, like I understood cameras and stuff, but like
you seem confident.
This is nearly 2 years removed. And at this point, I've been a photojournalist for more than 2 years now, and I know how cameras work. And so I was so much more confident in like my ability to pull off the things that I would read in script, like because there was subtle things in the script that would say like to do like the what's that one effect where you zoom in but it's zooming out.
The vertical effect.
Yeah. It's and so like, but also just being in news and always working with my camera, like I was totally confident. I'm totally confident now with camera work compared to how I've been with depth of field.
That's part of the reason when we first met Daniel, because I want to point out that Daniel, though he has a background of news, he also has a background of reality TV and like National Geographic type stuff too. That he's shot. He used to live in Florida, and he used to the whole life. Man.
I've PA'd for that stuff, and I've edited like commercial stuff, and
he comes from a background of knowing everything, man. And I think we met in an editing class where Daniel did all of the work because he's an editor.
I was in that class too.
Yeah, we were in a group, man. We were in a group. I want to tell
you. You took Carlos from me, dude. I got stuck with somebody else. Damn you, Telly.
we were in a group, and that was kind of the first thing. Castro and I had already known each other and stuff, and we're in this class. And then I remember we all introduced ourselves, and I thought, Daniel introduced himself and said he worked with K-Fox. And I think at the time you weren't a photog yet, Daniel, right? I think you were just an editor.
Yeah, I was just PAing barely at K-Fox. Yeah, I was a morning PA. I had transitioned from Channel 9, where I was an editor, to K-Fox.
Oh, I remember
to PA because I, some shit went down at Channel 9 and I left, but.
No, and I remember you saying that. I remember you saying you worked for K-Fox, and I thought, man, that's interesting. Like, we need to talk to him and tell him about Tower and see if he's interested in film. And so I think it was my fault, Gaston. I think I was like, yo, Daniel, you want to be my partner?
I was walking up to you like ready to be partners, and you're like, I got a partner, man.
And then you got stuck with some chick, right?
Yeah, the chick. I remember
some chick who didn't do
Roxy or
nothing. Dude.
Roxy, it was Roxy.
I always had excuses and shit,
And Daniel was like, he proved to be the guy, man. We did this funny Doritos commercial. You remember, Daniel?
Yeah, I remember.
Because I remember you guys even helped me too, so that was pretty cool, man. You guys weren't even in my group too, so.
We helped each other, and Daniel showed like that he wanted to be involved. Now I remember his excitement when we told him about Tower was through the roof, because I don't know, Daniel, I don't know if you want to talk about that. Like,
oh yeah, no, well, it was really kind of crazy, because when I had met you, like, I had already decided that I wanted to do film, which is why I was doing the film program at UTEP, but in the meantime, I was stuck in news, and I'd done reality and stuff, but I was like, how am I going to get into film? I didn't have any friends that were film buffs or anything like that, and I met you, and then suddenly you were like, hey, this is what we're into. We're doing this depth of field movie. And I was like, holy fuck. If this isn't a sign from God, then I don't know what else it is, And so from there, I was like, fuck yeah, like-minded people, I needed to jump on this.
I agree. Yeah.
Hey, Carlos, that seems to be the common denominator with the Tower guys, man, because that was my story. I remember talking to Eric about the same thing, man. I didn't realize that. That's something I'm learning today, is that kind of seems very common amongst all of us, that we're all individuals looking for that film crowd that we couldn't find.
Like film?
Yeah.
Man, it's like
that's
you don't
pretty much how it was.
Movies? How could you not want to make movies?
It's crazy, but I said,
I picture Carlos as Kevin Costner from Field of Dreams, being told
build it and they will come.
Do a movie and they will come.
Yeah,
that's funny. No, it really is that way, because same thing, man. When I got into film, man, I hear these stories about our heroes. Rick and I talked about this because Rick just finished Entourage, and I'm proud of him for that. And
solid, man.
We talked about, Rick and I have these random conversations, man. He'll text me with a random thought about something he just watched, or something thought he just had about film, and we will carry on these conversations. And one thing he told me was hey man, I'm watching Entourage, and it's really hard to identify with any of the characters for me. He's obviously Castro is the Vince character,
dude, the pilot, I was like, oh my God, that's Castro. The whole series, I'm like, that's Castro right there. He's gonna be a star.
Yeah,
I'm not that good of an actor, man.
And he's he tells us it's hard to identify with any of the main characters, and I was like, you know why, Rick? I was like, I've analyzed this too in my head, and I think it's because we identify with the cameos. We identify with the famous directors that are coming out.
Yeah.
Those are our heroes. Those are the guys we look up to, and that's who we identify with. And I hear these stories of my favorite Hollywood era is the 1969 through the mid 1980s, which is the film school brat era. And obviously it's the Scorseses and the De Palmas and Spielbergs and Coppolas, and you have this thing where they all just
M. Night Shyamalan.
No, not M. Night Shyamalan. Where they met in film school, or if they weren't attending a film school, they would just hang out at a film school and talk to like-minded people. At UTEP, it's like a diamond in the rough, man, because you have to really, really dig to find people like that. The DMP program is growing. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I don't care how it sounds. I feel like our generation is the one that made the film school the way it is now.
Yeah.
Because, we were the ones,
would agree. Yeah.
us and TriCast and Jonathan Gonzalez, who's a UTEP as well. We're the ones that started yo, man, there's no film program here. It's a digital media program. We need to make this about film. and we were the ones that made it. And now Jonathan's still at UTEP, and so I think De La O, they talk about how like they see it, they see the growth, and they see people wanting to make film, and it makes me so happy, man, because I feel like
it's really crazy that, like, you know, when I'm over there and you talk to people, at least in the early parts, but even before I met you guys and all that, most of the people I talk to, they're like, well, you know, like films are cool, but you know, we'll kind of gauge it and we'll figure it out and we'll see what happens. And you're like, I want to make films. I don't want to gauge it. Like, what the hell?
Exactly.
The creation part of it, man, is beautiful.
Yeah. So, you know, it's always like looking for that right crowd, just so that way, you know, you can actually go out there. I mean, I know that before, when we finished up the Tower 20 and we're kind of moving into the next phase of planning, like what's going to happen next, I would always hear from Ricky saying that, like, you know, I'm just itching to get back out on set and do something, and we're all like that. And I mean, we're feeling that before we came into Tower, and now we're feeling it right now when we can't go out and make things because quarantine and everything.
Meet like-minded people along the way, man. Like, we got
that passion has to be there.
It has to be. And that's why I like telling these stories on the TowerCast, because of filmmakers that are out there listening and watching, man. This is for you, and we hope you guys realize that. I'm going to talk like I Am Legend, like the message he sends out, the broadcast he sends out. You're not alone, and you have people. So, we got Beto on right now.
Ooh, the star.
Hey.
Yo,
Star, what's up, Beto?
The man.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can. Whoa.
Dude, we were talking to your chair for like 15 minutes before we realized it wasn't you.
Like, he's not on?
Like, damn, dude, he's quiet.
No, man, we have one of the El Paso prodigies with us right now. Star of You're in Trouble, and one of the members of Edison's Ear, as well as the Lions, another
Sick
band he's a part of as well. He is my brother in arms, honestly. I love this dude so much. I think, like, him and I really, like, have gotten close, and, you know, we're kind of neighbors. And I've played a lot of games of, we play a lot of games of, crimes against humanity. So I've gotten to know how his comedic senses play out during a card game like that. But how's it going, Alberto? How's quarantine treating you?
Not really well. No, I was already at home a lot, but like not being able to play live shows is like, oh man, it pisses me off a little bit, honestly.
Beto's an awesome dude, man. He's the sweetheart, dude. He's a sweetheart. He's a mad sweetheart, and he's played with. I think it's hilarious, man. When we meet guys at the juxtaposition in their own lives, is funny because you meet Beto and he's like this hardcore rocker dude, but he's a sweetheart, man. And he's played with some of the hardest bands, like death metal type shit. Like, he's played with those bands, and he comes across as a sweetheart, man. But his sensibilities as a musician and branching out into acting, and he's terrific, man. Terrific.
Yeah, and I gotta ask, Alberto, since you branched off into acting, man, how was it being the lead character in the film, dude?
It was, at first I was like nervous AF, like, honestly.
Yeah.
It kind of started to, it was like, I'm gonna just mess everything up, like, completely. But
it happens.
Thanks to Carlos, thanks to everyone in this grid view. I felt great. I mean, I felt confident with everything. I was able to, like, it was pretty cool, honestly. It was a pretty badass experience. As a musician, you have to kind of display emotions physically also, right, while you're playing. Otherwise, some things might not, like, get through to the audience, to the auditor. And in acting, it's like the main thing, and also like the voice and all that.
I want to point out
that's the one thing
that Beto he had acted in an Ask Reddit with Austin. Directing before. He was a second lead in that, and did fantastic. We shot that in his apartment, in fact, which is awesome.
Yeah, and thanks again.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Beto, man, like he's acted in other stuff before. He has some experience in other films with other production companies. And though I think they didn't go as well as maybe this one, he's told us some stories, man. He still had a great time, and he didn't fall out of love with acting out of that.
That's how you learn.
Well, Alberto's down for anything. Like you can toss him a ball and he'll play basketball with you. Or if
I love that. Hell yeah.
that basketball becomes a soccer ball, he's like, all right, we're playing soccer now. Like he's very adaptable. He's a very adaptable person. So I don't have any doubt that this quarantine is like messing his kindness at all. But one thing I did want to ask you, man, because one thing that I think is very interesting about this particular movie is that you're actually acting alongside your fellow bandmates.
Oh,
so, Alexis, and then you have Cesar. And like Alberto and I, like we've talked, like we've had conversations and such. And one of the things I really adore about their team in music is that they do have this connection that is kind of unspoken. And as musicians, I mean, I've seen this guy play, and when him and Cesar go back to back and they're shredding their guitars, like it's fucking beautiful. Like
I can attest to that, man. I've directed Edison's Ear and their first music video, and we're working on their next one already. We already got the
and that's one of the things I wanted to ask is like, did that connection between you guys as bandmates, when you guys give each other the looks, when you guys give each other the feels, like was that also on set, like during acting?
Definitely. I'm going to say definitely, yeah, because there's just things that happened naturally. It felt like most of the characters were like written for most of us already, because there's just so much of it that was like, yeah, that sounds like Alexis. Yeah, that sounds like her. Yeah, that sounds like me.
Not putting anybody on blast, but yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, so it definitely happened. It was just like there's like that one scene where we poured that's something Cesar would have done.
Yeah,
and I gotta
that's just
would have or has.
Okay, has.
He just did it yesterday. Hey man, and I gotta ask Albert. This is a tough question, and you gotta be honest, no sugarcoating. How hard was it to work with Ricky? And Ricky's not on right now, so you can say whatever.
I can see him right there. He's right there. Right there.
Microphone's
just shrink the swears.
I can leave if you want me to.
He's still on.
You're good. How was it? It was honestly great. It was really great. He had good direction. He just had a lot of very like when like I said, since a lot of things were actually written in a way that we like already related it to, a lot of the times Ricky would say like, hey, just naturally, right? Just like, how would you? And I was like, fuck, yeah. I mean, fun, yeah. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
Totally right. He's totally right. Just get it as naturally as
Did he ever yell?
Yeah. Not to the best of my recollection.
not outside the bedroom. But
well,
yeah, okay.
I'm not gonna take it there.
And also, I gotta ask, man, was there any challenges, man? Like any challenges, any hiccups?
Any challenges?
Especially with Alexis, because I know Alexis. That what?
Huh?
Oh man, I gotta tell you, man. We've worked with Alexis before on a ton of sets, and on like I said, on their own music video, and I just have to say really quick on this one. If you guys don't know Edison's Ear, check out the episode where we interviewed them for the look and their music video. But I like I've said it before, Herrera and Beto is kind of like the guys that I go to get Edison's Ear in line. and
not Alexis.
No, of course not Alexis and not Cesar, just because they're more chill and they're more relaxed dudes. And I've talked to Beto and Herrera, especially about this set, because this set's about marijuana. And full disclosure, everybody that watching out there, we were responsible on set, man. We had to be responsible producers. We didn't have real weed on set.
It was CBD.
It was CBD. It was diet weed. So,
diet weed.
Right there. That's actually pretty good.
No, but it was.
I'm on a diet today.
We bought I think we bought a pack of like rolling tobacco, and we had pipes and stuff that we bought as props.
Okay. I was gonna ask that. That's true.
It was all fake. So let's just say that Edison's ear likes to partake in the cannabis as well, you know. And I had to
have a good time. Just say that.
I had to warn
musicians who do drugs. What?
right. What?
Where do you find these people?
Look,
Such a rare commodity.
Everybody has their process, man. We've had actors come to set high. We've had actors come to set drunk. I'm not even messing around here. Yep. And it was important to us that, especially for Rick being a first-time director, why would we want him to deal with all that shit?
Yeah.
We want them to be prepared and focused and not have a hard time. So,
also, you never want to burn out the AD.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
Jason would have kicked your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's ass.
We talked to Beto and I talked to Hera, and I told them, like, you have to make sure that nobody comes to set high, bro. Like, I think for the music video, we were a little lenient. Like, everybody had a little buzz going, or maybe they smoked a little spliff. But for the set, we're like, we can't have it, man. Like, we just can't have it.
Big no.
So they did, and Alexa, everybody, obviously, they were acting. They were truly acting. They weren't high. They weren't drunk. Nothing like that. It was truly acting, and I want to point that out because it's easy to be like, they're just playing themselves. Seth Rogen is just playing himself in every movie he does, right? Because he's high. You know, in this case, Beto and everybody were professional. Alexis especially, man. Alexis came to set ready to go, and he was truly leading Edison's ear on the acting front, man. Like, he was giving ideas. He was throwing funny suggestions. I think for Rick, it was truly collaborative whenever Edison came into set and Beto. So I think you should talk about that because I think it was truly collaborative, man. I think the Edison's ear guys and Beto, especially as a lead, was prepared, bro. I wrote a monologue. I wrote a long-ass monologue for Beto, and he fucking pulled it off.
Fucking nailed it.
I love that monologue. I love that monologue.
I think that was like you said about the Castro was asking about any hiccups and stuff, and I think you were super nervous about that monologue, man. And you guys were prepared, dude. You killed it. You were there, and I think you should talk about that a little bit. I just want to
preparation is key, dude. Yeah, talk about it, man.
Well, that was basically no. It was. I remember seeing when I was actually going through the script. When I got to the monologue, I was like, man, I've never done anything this long that wasn't in notes.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I've never done anything this long that wasn't just music. And I was like, damn, okay. So I kept going over it. And I remember the first take, I just stood up and nothing came to mind for the first take. And I was like, man.
Blank.
I remember that.
Say the first thing that comes to mind. You
know what? When you did it, Beto, when you did it, like, you stood up with like the most confidence I've ever seen an actor. You just like stood up, you looked at the camera, you're like, "Fuck," and then you just like turned away. But it happens.
It happens, man. It happens.
Yeah.
You guys don't have bloopers for this?
Oh yeah, I think we did. Correct me if I'm wrong. We put some at the end of the film. No, like in the.
There's some hidden
bonus scene. Yeah.
Just
bonus scenes.
Yeah, just a bonus.
I just shout out to Austin, man, because he's our producer and he wasn't able to make it to the show today. But we shot most of this at his house in his patio area, man. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And they let us do a lot of shit, and I'm sure we kept his parents up a few nights in a row. But they were chill. That's true. They were chill.
Yeah.
They're always cool. But Beto, I think you should talk a little bit about that. Like, your monologue.
Well, I just wanted to make a quick comment that I just remembered. While at Austin's house, he said, "Oh yeah, I have a couple of hoses in the back." So I was like, "Oh, are you saying that the hose in the back?" And then and something happened.
Where else would you keep your hose?
That he also has.
How's it going?
Like female dog. So it's also in the back, female dogs. And I was like, okay, so you have hoes and bitches in the back? Like, what? No, man.
You're a rock star, not a rapper.
Pretty amazing. It was pretty awesome. The whole process while being at Austin's house and like doing all of this just seemed kind of surreal at first, and then it was just fun, like just to actually be able to be doing this. There's a couple of hiccups and stuff that happens. Like
either Rick or Beto, I think it'd be cool if you guys can talk about. I wasn't on set the day that the big hiccup happened at the doctor's office. I was. It was my anniversary actually, and I was at dinner
cool.
with my fiance. But I think that was a big one, man. That happened in terms of location and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that.
I don't know the exact details of it. I know our I don't know, we had overstayed our welcome apparently. They had thought we were linked up with somebody that they didn't want to be linked up with.
Yeah.
And so they pulled us. They thought our connection, I don't know, just
somewhere,
somewhere along the line, someone wasn't. They had a disagreement with somebody, and they thought that was our connection. They thought we were associated with, with said person, and they pulled it. They were. I
didn't know this.
You guys are gone. Yeah, you guys are gone. You guys don't have the office. Everything you guys planned for. Nope.
I got a text from Austin while I was at dinner, and he told me, he's like, "Hey man, I was in downtown, He was like, "Hey man, they're pulling the plug on us. Like, we got to bounce. They're not letting us shoot the scene." I think you guys were there for maybe like half an hour, and then they were like, "All right, guys, like, are you guys getting out?" When they had promised me, I'm the one that called and got in contact with the people who were in charge, and it's exactly what Rick said. It was a big misunderstanding. Them thinking we were connected to a former associate of theirs, and that's how we got this connection. And I cleared it up over the phone, thankfully, and I think they let them finish out the scenes.
Oh, okay.
During his anniversary dinner.
Commitment.
Yeah, give him credit for that.
Dude, yeah, Carlos, you didn't have to.
And she's
that's awesome.
still with him.
I know, dude. You know how much begging I had to.
Hey, you win an Oscar, that's going straight to her.
You know how much money I spent that weekend?
Your first Oscar goes straight to Sandra.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah. She was like kind enough. Like I was texting, so she was like, "Yeah, go make the call, like figure it out." So I stepped outside and I talked to the doctor.
He did his thing. I think I just told him like, "Hey man, like you gave us permission and we're all good. We're not associated with that guy or whatever." And he's like, "All right, man. I think just a misunderstanding. I think you guys stayed maybe another hour, finished up the set." I kept getting texts from Austin like, "Yo, we're good. We're about to wrap up or whatever." Nice.
And Austin was bugging. Austin was bugging out. He was the last thing he wanted to do was call you. He's like, "I do not want to call Carlos."
No.
Why?
He knew on his anniversary. He's like, "I'm not
okay.
I'm handling the reins." But the thing is, the people knew Carlos directly, so they needed him. And more power to them. You shouldn't ever associate yourself with somebody who's going to bring down.
True, definitely.
So even at the time, we understood. It was just it was.
We had a bad experience.
That's good.
With that guy ourselves, man, with a guy that they associated us with, because he hired us to work with him on something, and it didn't pan out because of some choices he made, but. Regardless, I know Austin very well, man. He's my best friend and he's my partner in this game. And
he's my best friend.
No, sure. Down.
Who's my best friend?
Ricky's my best friend, dude.
That's my boy right there.
No, but yeah, I just want to point out he was bugging out and he reached out to me and we got it ironed out. But our goal, I want to make it clear, our goal was that Ricky's not the one freaking out. Our goal was that Ricky understood. We got this, man. You don't have to worry about all the drama that's going on, and that way he can do the same for his.
Hey, mad respect to that, dude. He didn't freak out.
Right?
That's mad respect.
And if you notice my answer,
there's many stories on set where like this man right here, Ricky. Like when you're given like the task to direct a film with Tower, like let it be known that you're gonna go through all the phases. Like phase 1, pre-production, where it's a full team telling you, all right, so here's the actors we got available for you. Here's what we're going to give you. Here's this and that. Here are the location dates. You have Austin Young preparing you, your call sheet. Like it's all ready to go. And, we were trying to mention this hiccup earlier, but I think now's the time to do it because, again, the fact that Ricky is able to just like you throw him like, and similar to Alberto, because I always say birds of a feather flock together. And I always feel like as a director, the most important thing about being on a set is that you want to feel comfortable and you want to be able to express yourself, be confident, and just let it all out because that's your truest form of expressive is when you're directing, and when you have an actor who's able to play ball and sort of be this improv kind of person. It's like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, is that like, what do you want? Alberto's that way. Alberto's very like, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like, he'll always pitch in ideas, and and he's a creative and too. Like, you listen to the way Cesar and Beto talk about music. Like, I remember when I went to go see them live, like when they talk about songs they love, when they talk about music they've written, they break it down for you. They're storytellers in their own ways.
I'm so jealous, dude. That's pretty.
And
bad.
Rick, man, like Ricky is a very like kind and nurturing soul. So the fact that these two were able to combine their forces together and deliver a movie that, I mean, these aren't their real personalities. Like, Beto's way more responsible than what he's shown on stage. But, one of the things I have to give praise to Ricky for is that, there was a moment where while they were filming the couch scenes, and I think De La O can talk about this a bit, like, they realized that the camera was filming at 120 frames per second.
Oh,
and
I don't know if you guys,
all the footage was coming out in slow-mo. So, I could only imagine how Ricky was feeling, but I don't think he even tripped out. I think he was just like, what do we do? And
like, I don't know if you guys remember, but like the first day on set when we were like filming the scene with, it was going to be like the monologue and everybody together, and Beto was panicking over the whole job and whether or not he got it. We tried to do playback, I think, for the first time, and
that's right.
We had done several takes, but then everything wasn't playing back at normal speed. It was playing back at like slow motion, and it's one of those things that would be a quick fix, but when you're on set and you're trying to be very timely about things, and then you hear like, oh, well, all the footage, we're going to have to try to fix it like somehow. I don't know if
editing bay. Austin was in his editing bay fixing it on the spot.
I don't know.
Just to make sure. Just to make sure we didn't have to go back and do reshoots. Austin luckily we were at his house. He was in his editing bay fucking probably for like 10 minutes. And we were all like waiting on pins and needles, like, shit, are we gonna have to reshoot?
What's so funny is that if anybody who's been on set with Austin on set throughout the entire shoot is a ball of stress. He is, he's already maxed at his limit.
Warranted though.
Yeah, absolutely. But he does that so that it can make it easier for the rest of us. When that had happened, I thought he was going to explode. I thought his heart was going to explode. But instead of sitting around trying to look for or blame or criticize or whatever, everybody just jumped into action. He grabbed it. He grabbed the camera. They started messing with the settings. It wasn't the settings. He grabbed the memory card.
That's awesome.
Started working on it then and there. It was, and he
as
was
a
able
producer
to take care of it.
man.
That's one of the things I wanted to let people know, because when we interviewed Austin Young for his episode, he's not here with us today. He's busy, but shout out to Austin Young. But like, that's one of the things I always try to tell him is like, dude, like, you don't understand. Like, you really are the backbone that we need on set, because again, like, when the first time I really, really got to see him like juggle so much was for the 24-hour film festival, and it was like crazy because I was doing the behind the scenes, but obviously just asking him. Yeah. He was just going off about, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to squeeze.
You see it in your doc, Juan. You see it in your doc. Because like, you had you guys literally invited all the actors of El Paso to be in this movie. It seems it was like the end game of Tower, and everybody was there, and so you had to squeeze in the leads, Castro and Valerie's, their little bits, and then all the extras that were there. Who are very much leads in their own right, but they were all squeezed in, and because of Austin Young, I want to say that movie, was on schedule, and it paved the way for how we operate, because you really see that. And it's the same with this. I think with this, for those of you that don't know, I'm not big on producing, man. Like I enjoy doing it because to Towers, they're my friends, man. And I've produced stuff for like the TriCast guys and helped them with shit like that too. But it's not my niche, because when I first met Austin, I knew it was his. Austin had organized stuff, like he was very into fantasy football and organizing leagues. He was very big into organizing sports leagues. Like he played flag football and had a team, and he was organizing that. If you don't know, he's a part of the El Paso Locomotive podcast and their fan club, and he's involved in a lot of avenues, and it's trained him to be an organized mind. So when he first started and we first started Tower, I told him, I was like, you're not going to just be an editor, bro. You're going to be a producer. Like I see it right off the bat. And for this film particularly, because I wrote it and I didn't want to step on Ricky's toes, I told Austin, like, I'm not going to be involved as much, man. I'm going to back off because I don't know. I'm scared that I'm going to be on set or I'm going to be location scouting or what have you. And I'm going to want to give my 2 cents when it's not my film. So I really did do that for this film, and that's where Austin came into play. Like Austin and I will help each other produce, but Austin by far, man, if Austin's not there, Juan's right, the backbone's not there, and everything just falls apart. And it was very, for me, I could see it from the outside perspective finally, because I asked to be in the background. I asked to, like, you know what, man, I don't want to be involved until Ricky needs me. If Ricky needs me, whatever he needs, I'm there. But I don't want to step on his toes. I want him to be free and direct and not feel like I'm looking over his shoulder. I don't know why I have that effect on people, and I don't want to. I don't want to look over everybody's shoulder or anybody's shoulder, especially a director, because I don't want anybody over my shoulder when I'm directing. So shit, why shouldn't everybody else?
Well, it's true. I think it's so cliche to say, to have a production company and to act like every single person is fantastic. But I think when it comes to Tower, that it really truly is like that. And you know, it starts from, you know, the background to the actors and everything. It just, everything just works. You know, I've texted this to Carlos, where I'm a firm believer that attitude reflects leadership. And I think when we started this project, I'm telling you, you know, Carlos had mentioned that this is the last film out of the Tower 20 that we shot, but he's been telling me since like 7 or 8, let's get your film going. You want to direct a film? Let's get it going forever. And I wouldn't deliver. I wouldn't give him anything. And he would, hey, have you written anything? Have you want to direct something? He was constantly pushing me. And so when he presented me this project, my gut instinct was to say, no, I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm doing. But because
Ricky's too humble. Ricky's too humble to come up to us and be like, hey man, I'm ready. Like, I'm going to direct this. I want to direct that. And especially because he's kind of been tinkering with projects and writing, he's not going to come up to us. That's why I knew I had to kind of force him. I kind of had to push it on him. Like, hey man, I got your project right here. If you want it, you got first dibs. And I think Eric Sanchez, correct me if I'm wrong, man. Like, I don't think you were too adamant about directing this either. You probably could have. You would have done a much better job than I. For sure.
It's your story.
But it's,
I just didn't want to direct it because it was not my style. Yeah. And then I suggested Ricky because he's more of a comedy guy. Which, funny enough, he writes a lot of horror. For a funny guy.
He's like a comedy guy, though.
That's what I'm saying, man. I appreciate that. But it for me, it was big because there's nobody more humble than Carlos in this whole thing, and everybody's always talking to him how he's the boss. He's the boss, and he's the first one to say, "I'm not the boss, guys. I'm not the boss." But we literally would. I would be on set, and I needed help with. I mean, I've never directed before. I needed help with this, so I would turn around expecting to see Carlos next to me, which I'm sure he wanted to be right next to me. Yes. But I'd have to pick him from the back of the yard, say, "Carlos, come here. I need your help." So I'd tell him, "How do I direct this? How do I get this?" And, try doing this. He knew exactly how to direct it, but he'd be like, try this, kind of like slowly giving it to me. Like in his mind, he was like, I know how to do this scene. I could do this scene for you if you want me to. But he's so humble that he's waiting. He wanted us to have. So I would literally pick him from the back of the crowd to say, come direct with me. Stand right next to me. But
more than that, Rick, it was. I couldn't do that because this was your film. I couldn't direct it how I would direct it because then it'd be my film, and then that was important for me.
True.
For me, it was important for you to realize that any opinion I'm going to give you, if you feel necessary, so throw it out the fucking window, dude. It's your movie, and though I appreciate your trust and I appreciate you always, you seeing me as a leader, man. That's a big deal to me. That really is. And Ricky has gone on record, man. Like we've had conversations outside meetings and stuff. And if you don't know this about Tower, we'll have meetings at Village Inn for 3 hours and then stay another 3 hours outside of the parking lot talking shit.
They don't like us.
And shooting the shit. And we've had that with Ricky, and Ricky's gone on to say, like, because my focus with the Tower 20 and beyond and the Tower shorts, and we're going to make a really cool announcement about that in a minute. It has been like, I want to help other people make their films and see their dreams come true, because I was able to do it. And I had Austin and I had Eric for that. And I had Castro, which I worked with a lot for the same reason, man, because Castro's a believer, man. He believes in us, and he knows we have it. He's worked with a ton of other people, and he knows we if we don't have it, we want to get it. And Ricky's one of those guys, and Ricky's gone on to say, like, since I'm so focused on making other people's like films come to life, because I love these filmmakers, everybody in this room and everybody who's not here, I love these filmmakers. I want to see their projects come to life. The way I got to see mine come to life, because it's a beautiful feeling. And Ricky's the first one to say, like, yo, man, chill. Ricky's the first one to be like, what about yours?
You need that. Yeah, you need that.
What about yours? What about yours? You got this project or these feature. And Ricky melted my heart one time, and this is the last thing I'll say about this, but he was like, hey, man, a lot of people, we've had some trouble in the past with people who just aren't on the same page as us and have had to leave Tower and stuff like that. And Ricky's been like, look, man, it's because they don't get it. They don't get that I
agree, Ricky. I agree.
You got this project, and if we help you, get there first, all of us are going to get there. And I'm anytime Ricky tells me this, I'm like, no, dude, it's not about me. It's not about my films. It's about all of us as Tower. And he's like, no, man, but you don't get it. If we get your film up there first, you're going to pull us up, and we're going to be succeeding with you. In that regard, I do agree with him. If I succeed as a filmmaker, everybody succeeds as a filmmaker. And I hope everybody in Tower has a mentality. And I know everybody in Tower has
Hell
a mentality.
Yeah,
man. With the extended family of Edison's year, man, because, hey, look at Beto's cello case, man. He's got the Tower sticker right there. Look at
Fucking man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, so I don't mean to cut you guys off.
No, please.
We're getting to an hour and a half, and we're going to try to squeeze in 2 more questions. One of them is the ending, man. How did you guys sneak in those 2 hidden scenes, and why? You know which one, Carlos?
Which
you
one?
and Austin?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Was that Ricky's idea? I think that was Ricky or Austin's idea.
I didn't even know till the
might have been Austin.
I think it was Austin's idea. Austin, shout out to the smoke shop, man. Herbs and Legend.
Yeah. Definitely.
Herbs and Legend let us shoot there, and Toth, man, Toth played her role fantastically.
Perfectly.
Oh my God, it's amazing what Toth was before you say action and after you say action.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy.
She's so interesting, dude.
So on it,
Ricky. I don't know if you want to just bring up that one bit when you were directing her, you didn't know if it was going through or not, like.
Like I said, I have no issues with anybody, and the thing is, I don't think Toth was familiar with me, and I had 2 funny instances when I was directing her. Is when we first got to the smoke shop, she got there, and I went up to her and I started telling her, okay, this is what I want you to play, as far as what kind of character this is, the way she speaks, the way she sees. And as I'm explaining to her, she literally turns around and walks to the back of the store. I'm standing there like the jackass, like, she heard me, right? Like, I don't know if she didn't know I was the director.
That's her process, dude.
She just walked away. So I was like, I remember standing there for maybe a good 5-10 seconds, like, do I follow her? I went and I talked to her, whatever. And then, like I said, she's lightning. Once you say action before set, she's awesome. She's cool. She snapped right into the character.
We've had the pleasure of working with Toth a few times. She's I've had the pleasure of directing a few films, and Austin and she's a ray of sunshine, man. She's super bubbly.
Everything.
Very bubbly. She's
super
dancing.
Bubbly. Yeah, she's dancing, having a good time. Yeah,
literally, you cut and she's sitting there dancing in place.
Dancing,
action. She stands up and she delivers the lines. There was one other one where we're in the middle and we're directing and we're about to see the shot. We're talking about it and then, okay, ready, everything, we already get set. Action. As soon as she say action, she pulls out her phone and starts reading the script on the phone, and everybody in the set's looking around like, did she see you say action? Like, rolling. We're rolling. But then she puts the phone away.
She's rolling.
Jumps right into it. Like,
it's her process, man. And she's she's terrific. And I think that I just brought up Herbs and Legend because all of those this scene that they're talking about took place in there. And that all of the scenes in Herbs and Legend, I think, Daniel, there was days where Daniel had to go to work, and that's when Eric would take over kind of as cam op, co-DP or whatever.
Yeah, I did.
No, yeah, I think you were there for the entire smoke shop stuff, and it showed in your style. And I remember Daniel and Ricky collaborating the most, I think, at the smoke shop, if I'm not mistaken. Those were big scenes. And Austin came up with this idea, and he was like, "Hey, man," I think maybe jokingly he might have told Ricky, like, "Hey, I want to come out shirtless." And I don't know who it was. Maybe Austin convinced me. He's like, "Hey, man, you should come up with me. Like, we'll be the stoner dudes on the couch, just like driving and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. It is what it is." And I think I told him, like, as long as you don't see our face or something like that, like, I'm whatever. And yeah, sure enough, we're like vaping on set, and you just wanted to see the smoke the way Ricky wanted it.
I think it fit perfectly, dude.
It was fun, man.
It's a nice little thing, dude.
It's like when Scorsese does cameos in his films, man.
All right, so before we move to the word of the day, we got one more question from the host, Juan.
Yo, what's up? What's up? Yeah, we're going a little long today.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, I do got to go in a bit, so I am keeping an eye on time. But I want to ask this. I want to make it a reoccurring thing where I ask every one of the guests to say something nice about each individual cast member from the from the actors, from anybody who's not here. It doesn't matter. Just tell them like, hey, I really appreciate this. I love that. Tell us something that really highlights each individual person that really propelled this project to be what it is.
Let's start off with Alberto, the main actor.
All right. Well, Ricky was on top of his shit, even though like it was really like there for us as we were working with him. Like he wasn't.
You need that from the director.
On top of us, he was just like, hey, yeah, he was working with us, not having us work for him. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Is that
amazing?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah. About everybody, I don't have that many nice things to say. No, I'm kidding. Yes, I do.
Stop. You're good.
Nah. Man, no, but seriously,
I guess it could be
everybody feel great. Huh?
I guess it could be one word. What's the one word you could describe everybody? So each one, actually. How would you describe Ricky?
I need like 10 minutes for mine, bro. Truthfully, I do. I need about 10 minutes.
Let's do that. Let's have Rick and Daniel and Alberto. Obviously, Alberto, finish your thought, but you three primarily, man. You guys were the ones on this film, so for sure.
Yeah, whatever you guys think, man.
All right. Well,
what was the question again?
Ricky was definitely helpful on it. Alexis was freaking hilarious. He like off camera too. Like Alexis was just he was just making everything right.
Hell yeah.
Man, Austin seemed like he was carrying a lot of like I would say like the Atlas.
Yes.
Would be Austin. Yeah, the world on the shoulder.
If you guys have ever played La Loteria, he's the cat of the world. That's the name right there.
El Mundo. That's
El Mundo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like.
That's a perfect description for him.
That's true. That's good.
That's true, man. He carries a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Did you meet
I
the
don't know
law?
what to say about this. Huh?
Did you meet the law, or who else did you meet here and there?
Yes. Well, I met Delo before. I'm pretty sure. Right?
So
yes. I did meet you before.
No, I mean everybody technically met me then, so like it was just me kind of waving at people like, "Oh, I've never seen you before."
He became part of the family so quick, man.
Yeah.
It feels like we've known him forever, right?
True.
And I'm sure it's hard, Beto. Don't feel like
man.
It's hard to remember everybody in it, but it's cool to know that everybody made an impact on you, man.
And that you had a good time.
You definitely made an impact with us, So
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And you, Tally, I know you know most of us, but what did you think of Alberto, man? Interesting character. I think Daniel froze, huh?
You might have,
Yeah.
Either that, he's really good at this game.
Yeah.
He's really stoned, yeah.
He's committed to the bit. He's committed to the bit.
Maybe we're all stoned.
And you, Ricky, just a couple of quick words about us. Honestly.
That's a fantastic range because I missed out on a lot of what I wanted to say as far as individual work, because it started from the beginning. I talked about Isaac. It was big at the moment we were there in Village Inn. He told me, I'm going to take care of Isaac. From there, just the burden was off me. He was there to, back and forth. And literally, I'm calling for future projects. Carlos, man, like he exemplifies, he gives you that confidence. He pushes you. He really is the last one to ask for any credit. He's the only guy that can direct 10 films and then work a grip on your film. Like,
damn.
How is he holding a wire when the man's already done this, 10, 15, 20 times? That's just his attitude. And I fully believe he's going to be like that. When you talked about how we're all in this together, I had always told him that if we're talking big time, it's a pipe dream. I told him, you want to win an Oscar, but my mentality here is to win you an Oscar first, and then we can go and go shoot them.
That's why I love you, Rick. That's why I love you, Rick.
I love him more, dude.
We talked about that leadership I had when I texted him that about Entourage. I was like, I can't relate to these guys. Can't relate to the gays. Then I saw a documentary on Brian De Palma, and they showed a shot of the film school guys, all of them in around the same
film brats.
And I told him, "This is it. This is it. This is what."
Yep.
And he's like, "That's exactly what we're going for. That's exactly that's what he wants from each and every one of us. He doesn't want to make it and have Tower behind us. He wants each one of us to make it, and that's just the attitude he has.
Yeah.
He's just the most humble guy. Austin." Man, that's just perfect. He's just he raises blood pressure every single shoot just for the rest of us. Once I got on set, man, like it was big time. I actually want to take. I'm a very humble, try to be a humble guy, but I want to take at least partial credit for Della, because when he got on set, I was lucky enough that he was on my film for the first time, and it was kind of a trial period. As a first time director. My focus, I couldn't help it. My focus was just on me not screwing up and making the film right. So a lot of it was kind of self-centered, a lot to me. But in between breaks, I remember talking to Carlos and Austin. In between breaks, I would use those couple minutes to be like, "Yo, man, this guy Della is really good. He's something. He's got something."
The big old.
And again, another break. "Yo, man, I like the way he thinks. He's very good. I want to put my name on him. I think he'd be great for Tower." He's also the one that helped me get that. Yeah, helped me get my Edgar Wright shot. Edgar Wright, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't. It was that. It didn't come out as perfect as I wanted, but it came out great. The spinning wheel when he takes off, I couldn't figure it out. I was fully prepared to burn out my car.
The 2 hours spent.
Exactly. Just so happened that the week before I got a tire light on my car because my tires needed replacing. So I was like, I was fully prepared to be like, I'm about to blow out my tires to get the shot.
Dedication.
And Della Destroyer over here, he's the one that told me, "Why don't you do it this way?" Boom. From then on, we had it. But he's always had great ideas. My only issue with him is that he's really, really funny, and I need to be the funniest guy in the group. And he's kind of challenging.
Dude. He's funny dude. Raul one-ups us, man. Yeah, when it comes to comedy and joking, he one-ups us, dude. Anytime.
Dude. I know. I told you 10 minutes, brother.
Take your time, Rick. Take your time.
I owe so much. Appreciate that. I owe so much to my cam ops. I know Tali's not there anymore, but man, like I wouldn't have been able to jump into it without them. Eric was the first one outside of the smoke shop when we were scouting locations that I sat there and I was essentially talking to him about a project that I had no connection with. And I remember talking to him And he's the one that started thinking, what if we can throw in some shots from, I think he's the one that came up with it, throw in some Edgar Wright shots, throw in some shots. What about we can make it like over exaggerated where it burns out, we can speed it up, or we can do this film angle. And for the first time I started to think, holy crap, I can make this mine. I can really put my own touch now.
For those of you that don't know, Edgar Wright is Rick's favorite director, and I think he tried to shy away from that, but we told him not to, you know. Hey, if I'm allowed to do Scorsese wonders in my film, Rick, you're allowed to have your Edgar Wright shots. Right?
Perfect, man. That's one of the first things I told you. That's a deal, man. That's a deal. And hey, Edgar Wright's a guy with heavy influences in horror, so I take all of that as a compliment, man. So, but it was big time. The minute Eric first told me about the shots, he was the one that told me we could do it this way, we could speed it up. He made it very surprisingly comedic in the sense that we can exaggerate what's going on.
Yeah.
And it opened up a whole thing for me.
Wait, what are we talking about now?
Yeah.
No.
I DP'd most of the film, and you're giving Eric all this credit, and I'm like, what?
You weren't here, man. He was giving you credit right now.
I need to defend myself here because I do remember talking to you with this and suggesting so many shots to you, and you're like, Eric is the man, but I'm
missed it. He was talking about you froze.
I
was like, I'm having problems with my internet, man.
Watch this on YouTube, and then you can text me an apology.
I was like, I can't watch.
Watch it on YouTube, man. I mean, I said that I owe so much to you guys.
No, I
you
think
guys
you
are big time. And what's
damn it!
Oh my god!
Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
There you go.
I don't know with my internet. It's
all good, man.
It's all you, dude.
Sorry.
No, but really quickly, Ricky, you could tell Tally what you think, man. You're like, as his DP, you know.
I was saying that I owe so much to you guys, man. It started off with Eric giving me all these ideas on the shots. What I was lucky about is that they're two kind of different types of cam ops, which was great on a film. You know, the first shot we did with Eric, and he had his straight shots, we had his angles, and we had these effects. Then Tally comes in, with a storyboard full of 10 different shots, and it was like candy to a child, man. You're like, I want to do all of them. Let's do this. He had all these cool and innovative ideas, just experimenting. Let's do this, and let's try shooting it this way with this effect and that effect. And it was so much fun just to play with that. And I couldn't have had that much freedom, that much confidence without my cam ops. And that's why it was so important for me to bring them both on the podcast, on the TowerCast, because
good call. Yeah.
That's where it started. That's where it launched. It was with my cam ops. They did wonders, and they helped me to get the confidence. They helped me to get the vision to see what kind of film I wanted to have. Without them, it wouldn't have happened. Going on into the actors, man, like Beto, man, I clung to him. I clung to him the entire time. You guys are so easy to direct, and all that confidence. It was, I don't know if it's because you guys are, I mean, you guys, it has to benefit the fact you guys are buddies. You guys are a band. But it really was like, as soon as we would cut, we were all now just hanging out. We were all a bunch of buddies, like on the tour bus of a rock band, and we all had fun. But as soon as we said action, everything was straight to business. We talked about, we couldn't use real weed, and you guys were completely professional. You guys did fantastic. You guys acted great. It was odd, and I'm sure actors can attest to that, but it was an odd thing for me to do that. The majority of my directions had to do with playing it back. I had to tell them, don't act so much. Don't act. I know you're an actor. Don't act so much. Pull it back. And then we would play it. Okay, you're acting a little bit too much. Let's pull it back. And it's so weird to direct an actor to say, don't act so much. Just don't act. Like that's what they do. And they were so great at it that it was easier to pull it back than it was to push it. Though, all these crazy ideas. Alexis's idea to show his ass on screen, which I think you can barely see it, but it was
that guy does it on a regular basis, man.
Yeah.
That's like his idea for everything.
Ass. I've seen all y'all's.
But it was fun from start to finish, and it was like a video game or like a quest where each stage I got to link up with somebody that really just walked me through and walked me a little bit. I got to start off with it, and then I went to this guy, and then he walked me through this, and I went to and that made the process so much fun. Afterwards, I talked to Carlos, and I was like, I can see why you want to do this. That directing bug bit me hard, and I need to get back behind the camera.
Dude, just hearing you, it sounds like you're ready for another one.
True.
I know.
I got on.
He
Yeah, we
is.
had a meeting.
He
I
has
got
a
on
trilogy lined up.
I got on Ricky's ass this week because I've been waiting for a script for months. And
Dude, the way he talks about it, it seems like he's got the bug, man. He's ready for another one.
I told Carlos, I'm just going to hand you 10 scripts and say, all right.
Please.
Because all I need to do is write them down. I got the stories. I just need to write them down.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
By the way, just going back a little bit, just to talk about Tally, I want to make something very clear. It was something I remember. Tally came so prepared to this shoot, man. Like, he had a binder of storyboards. I remember he had storyboards for
Daniel.
Rick,
hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
As a DP, he came prepared, and he really, really, really overextended himself. When he had a work schedule, that he went straight to work after each set for the most part, and that's just how Daniel is, man. And any minute, we shot this commercial thing a few weeks back, or I guess a month back, and he went straight to work. That's just how he is. He'll go and shoot with us as much as he can because he's told us before he loves it and he loves being on set. And then he'll go straight to shoot some other thing, man. Like, it's just how Tally is. And for this, he came super prepared, super ready and determined to make it his own as a DP. And I know that he was a pillar for Rick, man. Just like Rick has been saying that without him as a DP and Eric as a cam op, this wouldn't have happened. So I just wanted to point that out because it was something we didn't talk about, like how prepared Tally really is. I've had the pleasure of having him as a DP for me, and as an editor and a bunch of shit. And yeah, dude, it's Tally's funny, man, because he'll tell you straight up what you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
He'll tell you straight up.
He's a good guy,
you're
man.
doing wrong.
Yeah.
But he's not going to try to diminish your shit. Like, he's going to tell you, hey, man, that's not going to work because of this.
Yeah, you'll punch the nuts.
It's like I said, it was big. It started with you guys. That's what launched everything. It allowed me to have fun, which was big.
Yeah.
Because this could have been really scarring for me. This could have been real traumatizing. If I had a horrible experience, I might have not want to direct anymore. And at the end, once I was done, I was confident in the project. I was confident in the process. And
we didn't talk about sorry. We didn't talk about the poster before anything. The poster.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about the poster, Ricky.
It was a little jumbled. We didn't get
that was
sorry.
You're good.
The poster was awesome, right? That poster was actually made by
God. I fully expected because I started to think about what kind of poster I wanted. I had a general idea of what I wanted.
Yeah,
it wasn't that.
It was that. It ended up being that. But I went up to Carlos and I told him I'm thinking about if I can I'd like a certain poster for this. And I was giving him examples like Detroit Rock City and American Graffiti. American Graffiti was one that was based off of. Look at the cover for American Graffiti. But I fully expected Carlos to look at me like, how much money do you fucking think we have? And I expected him to tell him, nope. And unless you're going to draw it yourself, you're not getting the poster. But it was the opposite. You know, Carlos being Carlos, you always underestimate that. He told me, absolutely, man. I'll talk to this person. I'll talk to this person and see what we can do.
Who drew it or who?
It was actually my friend. Yeah,
it was all Daniel.
It was during like the time of production because I remember like we were still filming and then like the next day we came on and it's like, whoa, we got a draft, and like next day it was like colored and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think
God bless him because he would send me and then I'd be like, do this, tweak this, and he would do it again and
I think I just want to make this very clear. When it comes to our posters, a lot of people have worked on Tower posters, like and people from Jesse to Michael to Tally has worked on some. He did a poster for Depth of Field and a bunch of other ones. And Tally, I think I went out to Tally like, hey man, Tally in an exec meeting was like, I have a friend who's a graphic designer, is very talented. I think we should utilize him for a poster.
So we got
after like hearing what Ricky kind of wanted for it, like I knew exactly right away that my friend would be perfect for it, just because he has that new school like style of art that you were kind of looking for, and like when you started to show me examples and stuff, it was awesome.
And I want to give
the crazy thing was about my friend was like he was a little disappointed with the poster because he thought it could have been even better than how it came out. And
I gotta give Daniel credit because not only did he find the person, like his friend made this poster, this amazing poster, and he communicated with Ricky about what he wanted, but Daniel told us straight up like, hey man, my buddy's probably gonna charge. And we're like, no problem, man. Let's do this for Rick. Let's get this going. Let's get this poster. And Daniel paid for it. Daniel ended up paying for it.
Daniel,
not
even
but not in money though, right?
He
Oh yeah.
didn't allow us to pay him back.
Also, just because my friend's really talented, so I figured like he deserves to get paid, and I knew he on cash. So
each poster,
each
draft was better than the next, man. Which
Daniel didn't let us. Daniel didn't let us pay him back, man. Like he was adamant about like, I got this, man. I got this, and I took care of it. And I give credit where credit is due. And when it comes to the poster, man, I think I originally titled this film Whiz Kid, because of an Entourage episode actually. And I had titled it, and then Rick's like, we're like, it's just a working title. Rick, we'll change it to whatever you want. It's just a working title. And he came up with "You're in Trouble," clearly with the word play with urine.
That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was a joke, though.
No, yeah, it was. It was.
I had said, I think like 3 or 4 titles where I literally just goofing off with Austin and Carlos. I was like, I think I said like Golden Opportunity. And I said, "You're in trouble." And this one, and Austin was like, "You're in trouble. That's a great one." Or it was Carlos. Carlos was like, "That's great." And I was like, "No, man, I was just joking." No, that's perfect.
But on the poster, this guy, what's his name, Daniel? Let's give him some credit. Just give him a shout.
Oh, my friend Victor Dominguez.
Victor Dominguez. Victor did this thing in the poster, if you can tell, and then maybe Austin or Delao, whoever's going to do the poster, you can throw up the poster. There's a thing in the title where it's like it's a golden trail around "You're in Trouble" around the title. And it's just perfect, man. It's just perfect.
It's a lot of hidden gems. You can sit and look at the poster, and you'll see a lot of little. You'll see
brilliant. Props. You'll see key props from the film with the characters. It's terrific. It's fantastic job.
Framed on your wall, and
I want that. I want that.
Yeah. Honestly, I would love to have that on my wall.
100%.
Yeah, I'd love to have it on my wall too. Shit.
We have this dream, guys. So if you're listening out there and you want to help Tower and you want to fund anything that we got going on, we have this dream where we have when we have our offices. Currently, our office, quote unquote, is Austin's house, and Austin's like editing bay. That's where we meet. When we can meet in person. And in this Tower office, quote unquote, where we have our stuff, we have printed posters of like Sun City Lights, of Depth of Field. And our dream is to, and each of them are autographed by the director and the cast. And our dream is to print all of the posters that we've done for Tower, including and especially this one, man, because it's so terrific. Yeah. And Christian, who's been doing our fan posters. We've talked about yours too, brother. I know you're listening. He's been doing a lot of fan posters for us.
Oh, yeah.
And, we want to do that for you too, man. So he reached out to Tower the other day, Christian, and said, "Hey, man, I want to print you guys. I want to make you guys a print. What's your favorite poster of mine that you've said?" And we're like, "You don't have to do that, man." He's like, No, I really want to give it to you guys as a gift. And just people like that, man. So when it comes to posters, we love them all. Daniel, Victor, you guys brought this one together, man, and it's one of our favorites. This one's fantastic.
And I do want to recap what just transpired here, because this entire episode was about unifying the greatest and latest to bring about something really powerful and beautiful. And honestly, I got to say that, as somebody who loves to be active in movements and just like things that I find close and dear to my heart, in my route, I feel like film requires the same amount of movement that anything political would need. You need the right people to schedule things. You need the right people to unify the right minds to get together and congregate something that everyone can be, on the same page, on the same street. And, I think that with Tower, the fact that we somehow seem to be absorbing people from, graphic designers who want to design posters for us, from people like De La O who reach out and go, "Hey, I'm De La O," and we give them the platform to propel their attributes that they don't even know they have until we give it to them. And I think it's very beautiful. And again, shout out to all of our Spotify listeners, our Apple Music listeners, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. I want to keep this momentum going as one of the hosts of the Tower Podcast. One of the things that all three of us, Castro and Michael De La O, we talked about was that we want to be able to let the community know, especially during these trying times where everyone's quarantined and sadly everything is closed. So as a filmmaker, there's only so many movies you can make indoors. So I know that everyone, just like many months ago, like back in, I think we were talking about in December, everybody was itching to get back, and now everyone's back into that mode again. So we have projects coming up. Carlos mentioned a little bit ago the announcement coming up, but like, you know, it's one of those things where right now we need to unify the community more than ever, because it's through podcasts, it's through these conversations, it's through remembering why we do what we do that will keep it alive. And
I think you're right, Juan, and I think I want to talk a little bit, just really quick, guys, and then we know we've been on here for a little while, but
really quick,
hope everybody's listening, everybody's cool.
Quick, 5 seconds.
Real quick.
Yeah, so just Juan, I just want to mention that even on this set too, Juan was a huge help, man, and he was present and he was always helping, and he was coming across town to Austin's house on a daily basis.
Proved himself right away.
He took several buses. I remember that, and he was on set. And I remember he'd bring friends. Like sometimes his friends would give him rides, and his friends would want to come and help out on set, and they would. And Juan would bring that to that. So that was really cool. And Juan, obviously, apart from behind the scenes, he's always a helping hand on set. And you'll be seeing his work soon, I'm sure. So I just wanted to point that out, and I just want to point out that Ricky, as our director, and Daniel, I'm glad you guys are here because we want to officially announce that Ricky and Daniel will be leading a division in Tower that you're going to be hearing a lot more about coming into this future. I can't give too many details about it because then Austin will come to my house and kill me. But but we want to point out that Rick and Daniel are leading a new division in Tower. They've been
a Fight Club.
It is a Fight Club, and we
can't talk about it though.
Okay, don't talk about it.
But no, they're leading this new division. It's going to be amazing. And Tower, like Juan said, we have some amazing projects. All we've been doing in this quarantine, guys, is writing and prepping, having meetings like this, getting everything ready for what's about to come with Tower, and it's been amazing. We really got some really exciting stuff coming up. So I'm going to cap that with that, and then I know we got to close this out. But,
all right, so before we end this, we have Juan's famous outro.
I just want to say hashtag Towering Filmmakers. Don't forget that. Please, keep absorbing what you're getting, because I think this podcast is the best form of this is the closest thing you're going to get in El Paso and the world, like, of filmmakers who are slowly but surely like formulating the final dream, the final jump. And I'm not going to say anything at all, but I know that this year, like, the Tower team is really gearing up to take that, Neil Armstrong step to the moon. And again, like, hashtag, Towering Filmmakers. Don't forget, we got to keep this going, because again, now more than ever, artists, you guys need to get out there and really sell it to us, man. Because we need you, and I need you, and I'm one of those people who absorbs. I work off of other people, and I know everybody in this room does. So
word of the day.
Before you get to the word of the day.
Hold on, Ricky, let's go, Ricky.
Before you get to the word of the day, real fast, I want to say thank you to everybody. It was a fantastic experience. Something I'm extremely proud of. If my career flops, at least I'll have.
No, it's not.
Never.
I have a spot. I have a spot reserved in Castro's entourage, so hopefully this is
the beginning. Rick. You'll be turtle. You could be the turtle.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
So yeah, man. And then Alpert, I think you had something to say too.
I did. I wanted to do a shameless plug of a couple of things.
No, plug it in.
Go for it.
Cool. Well, the Edison's Ear in Spotify. Please check it out. Edison's Ear. Just as some really old music that I made when I was like 17 and 18 and stuff like that. I'm trying to go over it and trying to upload it. It's called A.O. Project. And Wolf Your Lions we mentioned earlier, but that's a new thing that I'm trying to like see what people think about. So please check it out. It's A.O.
Where can we find you? Where can we find your stuff, Albert?
Just that website?
On Spotify too. It's being uploaded to Spotify.
Spotify. Great.
Links in description below.
All right, Michael Delo, you're going to be the one what's the good word of the day?
The word of the day. Okay, so this one is going to be, if anybody can guess it in the next 5 seconds. I think we're all extremely agog about filmmaking, and Ricky was agog about directing.
What you call it?
Excited, maybe?
Yes, it is excited by eagerness. So I think we're all itching to work on the next project. We're all itching to stay on the podcast for another hour. But like all good things, it must come to a close because somebody said my record limit's gonna run out. So
yeah, my bad.
Juan, can you cue us out?
Yeah, thanks everybody.
I love y'all. That about does it for us. As always, keep writing your scripts, keep pushing your writer's block. And if you haven't heard from anybody else except for Mama, then you'll hear it from us. We believe in you. Your hard work. All your moving pictures. Don't forget to look at your call sheet. Don't you dare say it, fix it in post. And that's that Baltimore to the filmmaking phrases right there. So please don't ever say that, especially in front of Austin Young. He'll throw a hat at you. Yeah. And remember to love and appreciate your cast and crew for all the hard work they've been doing. And this is your field of dreams. So as they say, build it and they will come. Let's have some fun, towering filmmakers. We'll see you guys on set.
See you guys. Yep.